Mark.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Sorry, I was on the other tab looking at this disastrous mess of a comic we just read.
Oh no! Oh no! I'm assuming you're talking about Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War, Red Hood. We will talk about it in all of its glory right after we get to this. So, this is Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War, Red Hood. Oh, before we get started, don't forget, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing and what you want us to read after this. Beast World is coming up, but it's a couple of weeks down the road, so we got some time in between. We do plan on going into some of the Golden Age stuff, where we taking a look at those. But what else do you want to see us to take a look at? But this week, the entry for the Gotham War was Red Hood, issue number 2 of 2. If you saw the very beginning of this video, you know what Mark thought of it. And I have to
Like,
kind of concur. It wasn't terrible to me, but we were just
no,
talking backstage. It's a lot of things that we've already seen.
yeah, it wasn't poorly written or poorly delivered. It was absolutely pointless. Both of these two issues, I don't understand why they exist.
Hmm.
They don't service the story. They don't do anything except at the very end they find an excuse to tell you to go read an issue of Joker that's coming out, which I
Yeah,
don't care.
I was just gonna get to that because there are at least 4 instances, maybe five, maybe even five or more, where the editor's note says, "as seen in whatever, a different
Mhm.
comic," and then one of them is sending you to a story that has had nothing to do with the Gotham War at all,
At all.
um, which is the Joker, issue number 12, or read about, in fact, it says to be continued in Joker number 12. And so yeah, it's just like,
But
um,
as far as this book goes, what did happen in this book? And it seems like that the whole little two issue story is kind of focusing on the concept of Jason working with and training Catwoman's people. We actually see it happening in the first issue. In this issue, we start out with a couple of the little cat burglars that have been working for them, kind of leaving the scene of a crime, talking amongst themselves about how volatile Red Hood is and how one of the members from the gang has recently been killed, as we seen in that last issue. And none other than the Joker himself was waiting on these two ex henchmen in the back of their car, not to kill them, but to give them a message to give to Jason Todd. Because apparently, much like the Joker and his relationship with Batman, it's fueled by their want to get the Joker. And he has recognized that Jason Todd has turned his focus to the Scarecrow because of that last issue, and he wants the attention back for himself. So he gives them a note to give to Jason Todd.
yeah. And there's some scenes with Ravager in here as well when they're waiting on the second henchman, and you know there are some kind of good lines, like Ravager says, "Hey, what does the guy we're waiting for look like?" And so Jason Todd describes him, and he says, "Oh, really? Good. That seemed like the guy I just stepped on." You
Yeah, just yeah, he looks like this. Why? I was just making sure it wasn't the guy I just stepped on. Just
right?
that guy there,
Exactly.
with his face scratched out. So
Mm,
Joker sending Jason messages, sending him all these locations on that note he gave of potential places that he will be literally luring Jason in. But it starts kind of time stamping, like Paul said, showing you events. Like this book takes place over like the last 2 weeks, and it catches up with the last issue of the last installment of the Gotham War. And as we go, it keeps showing us these moments of stuff we've just seen and saying, as seen in this, as seen in that, to timestamp how much time has gone by through this, and just to show how irrelevant this book really is in the grand scheme of things, all just to get to the villains. It was really
right.
kind of like we see that villain meeting again with all of them like
Right.
hanging out and met up. Jason's missing because Batman has him, picked him up, dosed him with the fail-safe serum, and the villains are kind of all talking about Jason. So we get like an idea of how much everyone hates him. I'm assuming they hate everybody in the Bat family. And
Mhm.
mm,
Yeah, one of the things that I found the most disappointing was at the end of the first issue. I thought there was going to be this big, um, confrontation between Scarecrow and Jason, and there's a little bit of that. And inside the burning building, we see Scarecrow, where he basically identifies the fact that Jason is incredibly afraid, but not from the Scarecrow, the fear gas, and so he kind of takes that as kind of a slight, saying no one gets to do this, to people except for me. But before he can actually do anything, in comes the Joker, to kind of deal with the scarecrow. And so, and we assume that the scarecrow, gets away. We are left with, as part of the burning building, we do see this huge beam come down and land on Jason at the very end. But we know he's alive because Joker calls out to him, and we hear this muffled sound from underneath the beam. But
We
I'm
also know he's
assuming that
alive
that's
because the last installment we saw Batman and Catwoman lift the beam up and carry him out of
right.
the house, and everyone's all better and working
Right.
together. So this book didn't even surpass the timestamp that we were at
Right.
in the last
Good point. I
issue.
had totally forgotten about that when I
Because the
was reading
last
it.
issue
So,
ends with them reconciling
yep.
Catwoman, Jason, and Batman, and it was done inside of a Catwoman issue, and we don't even know what's going on with Batman in that case, because like the real story in all of this is Vandal Savage is the bad guy.
Right.
And the secondary thing that's even more important than that is Batman's alter ego Zur-En-Arrh is running the show right now. But inside of a Catwoman book, we have none of that internal dialogue. But so we get to see some of like those little flashbacks of what Zur-En-Arrh does when he's in control, i.e., capturing the Red Hood, installing the failsafe serum into him. But dude, it kind of got real whimsical with this one at the end. That burning building scene is when Jason's full of fear and he's doing everything he can to go get a kid out of a burning building, a scene in Catwoman. And while he's in there, all we knew is he went in to get a kid. The building collapsed, so he got stuck. Batman, Catwoman saved him. Well, apparently now Scarecrow shows up along with Two-Face, along with Black Mask, along with Professor Pig, along with Mad Hatter. They all show up to this house that they just happen to know Jason's at, just for Scarecrow to look at him and look at him with pity, like you're not worthy of me dosing, attacking, taking out. You're just a baby at this point, not even fun. And the Joker shows up, and they literally have a Looney Tunes fight, a literal Looney Tunes fight where it's just swirls and spinnies and their heads poking out and fists poking out. I'm like, what just happened? What just happened?
Yeah.
This was a
The only thing
terrible
that would have
time
the only
to think
thing that
about.
would have made it complete is if the beam had Acme on it as
Yeah,
well.
just, the more I think about it, this was a terrible issue. Who wrote this, Paul? Who's responsible?
Matthew Rosenberg,
That's the
who is
DC.
writing who
What does he do?
who yeah,
Wildcats.
so
Wildcats.
yeah, Wildcats, and he's writing the Joker story as well. He's James Tynion, like
Underling.
the exactly. So we had Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder's protege was James Tynion. James Tynion's protege is Matthew Rosenberg.
Seems like they just
So
get watered down the further you go.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um,
We
so
need to go
yeah,
back
so
up the
Matthew
ladder.
Rosenberg, who's
We need to go back to Scott.
exactly. Well, there's that rumor. You never know.
I never know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
For
yeah,
those
it
that
really.
are watching and picking up these issues after these, don't waste your time with this one. I'm not even going to lie. Not even going to pretend
Yeah,
like it's not worth your time.
yeah, and too bad too because the first issue did seem to have some promise to it as well, but it feels as though it was kind of wasted in the second half here.
Every
Again,
bit of it.
with so much stuff that just has happened in other stories. It's like, to your point, why do we need this if we've already seen all these things happen somewhere else?
Like who's out there only reading Gotham War through the Red Hood book?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
No, nobody.
Nobody.
Like I can understand in the Batman title servicing the events that happen in Catwoman or Red Hood, but that doesn't need to go the other way around. You need to be trying to make those other books matter.
Right. Right. So this week we have the conclusion, the big conclusion, the second half of the bookend. It's Batwoman, Catwoman, the Gotham War, Scorched Earth. So we'll
Oh
see where
man,
that leads us.
we're going
But
from
that's
scorched apartment to scorched earth. Let's do it.
exactly. So we'll be taking a look at that next week. The grand conclusion. Tell us what you thought of this issue. Don't forget, again, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribed. Make sure you comment. Let us know what you thought of this issue. Did you like it, or were you kind of as we were and thought you really could have done without this whole series here, the Gotham War, Red Hood. So, but that's gonna be it. quick and dirty. And I am
Quick and
Paul.
dirty.
He is Mark. Quick and
But
dirty.
we are Legion.
And you are now leaving Sector 2850.